What's going on, everyone? Today we are taking a look at the Segway Cube 2000 power station. Segway is a huge brand that's been making electric scooters and other electric mobility products for quite some time now, but this is their first product in the power station space. With that being said, they are not new to battery technology, so they definitely came out swinging and delivered a serious power station. So taking a look at the specs, this has a 2048 watt hour LiFePO4 battery, a 2200 watt power handling with a peak of 4400 watts, a 800 watt solar charging input, UPS function with a 0.03 second switchover time, app control, and includes a very good 5-year warranty. So taking a look inside the box, you have a few manuals and warranty information. You have an Allen wrench, which I'll go over its purpose shortly, your car charging cable, your AC power adapter cable, and then last but not least, right back here, you have the actual power station itself. Overall, this is one of the coolest modular systems I've seen so far. So right here, you have a line in the middle. This is 2 different pieces, basically. Right here at the side, there's 4 screw holes. You take that out, and these easily unattach from each other. So let me go ahead and separate that. And as you can see, we now have the battery over here and the top inverter and basically the brains of it all over here. So right here I have one battery. As I showed earlier, I also have another expansion battery, so that just stacks on top of here, and then we'll put that part on top. So let me go ahead and put that together and I'll show you what it looks like. All right, so I went ahead and got it all put together. As you see, I have 2 battery modules at the bottom and then the inverter unit at the top. Very cool how it all kind of stacks like Legos. A lot of other power stations make you have the big bulky battery at the side, then you gotta attach it with the cable. Just not as convenient. So definitely a fan of this design. One cool thing about the modular design is it basically allows you to expand as you go. So to start with, you could always just buy the Cube 1000 or Cube 2000 like I have here. And as your budget allows you, you can purchase additional batteries to eventually grow it into the max of 5000 watt hours. Most power stations take up more space when you start expanding, but even at the largest capacity, this is still a very compact unit. So taking a look at the unit itself, this feels very well built and it's definitely one of the better looking power stations out there. Overall, it's a very simple design, but the curves and overall shape of it really gives it a clean and modern look. So taking a look at the ports, you have 3 AC outlets here, 2 DC out on top, and then right down here, you have your car outlet, 2 USB-C ports, which are 100 watts each, then 4 USB-A ports, which are 18 watts each. Coming at the top, I love the direction they went with this screen. It's not trying to be fancy or anything, but it's just a very clear and visible screen with a very large battery percentage as well. Lastly, coming around back, you have your AC charging input and then your solar/car charging input. As I said earlier, this has a LiFePO4 battery, which is good for over 4,000 cycles. To put that into perspective, that's equal to over 10 years of daily charge and discharge cycles. So taking a look at the charging specs, this can be charged at up to 800 watts on solar, 1,250 watts on AC power, or you can also combine AC and solar for a total of 2,050 watts. Using both, you'll get a very fast charge time of 1.2 hours, but even on AC alone, it'll be faster than most at only 1.8 hours. Alright, so I drained this power station from 100% to 0 using about a 1,600 watt load, and it put out a total of 1,906 watt hours. Doing the math, that gives this unit a usable capacity of 93%. Most power stations of this size only put out about 80 to 85%, so this is definitely very good and way above average. Alright, so taking a look at the app, this is definitely one of the best apps I've seen on a power station so far. A lot of power stations have apps, but usually they're pretty basic and not that useful, but this one is a completely different experience. So starting at the top up here, you have your battery percentage, but beside that, it also shows you the exact amount of watt hours left in both batteries as well. Definitely very cool and not something I've seen in other power stations. Then over here, you have the current temperature of the power station. This has a bunch of different temperature sensors inside, and basically it monitors the power station at all times to make sure it's not operating when it's too cold or too hot, and it's always running at a pace that will keep everything safe for the power station. Then right here in the middle, you got a diagram of your battery showing how full or empty it is, and if you click on that, it gives you even more information So coming right down here, you click device info, then you'll come down here to battery details, and right here on this page, it'll show you a very detailed breakdown of every single battery as well. So right here, you see the top battery is 34%, and then the other battery is 34% as well. So when this is charging, it's not just randomly putting power into one battery and then to the other. It balances it out and makes sure that the power is being evenly distributed to both batteries and evenly drained as well. Then over here, it also shows you the voltage of each battery and the temperature of each battery. So coming back to the main screen, you got your input watts and your output watts. You got toggles for the AC and DC to turn them on and off. And then very cool, right down here, for every single USB port, it shows you the voltage, the amps, and the watts as well, which again is not something I've seen on any other app so far. Coming to the bottom right here, you have more functions, and right here you can limit how you want it to charge. So the maximum charging speed is 1,250, but you can also set that as low as you want as well. And in here you have increments of 100 watts. Then you have a standby time. So if you're charging something with the power station and say it's going to be done in an hour or two, instead of going back and checking on it, you can set it so that when it detects no power is being drawn anymore, it'll automatically shut itself off. So you can go ahead and set that as well. It says right here, under 5 watts, it may not recognize it. So if you're charging something with low wattage, you don't want to use this. But other than that, it should be fine. And then you can set this standby time to a minimum of 15 minutes or a max 24 hours. Same with the DC. If it stops detecting current, it'll shut off. And then it also has hold device. So if you're charging something with AC and DC, instead of setting each one individually, you could just set it that when everything's done, go ahead and shut off the unit at this time. Then right here, they have something they call R drive. Basically, this allows you to run appliances that would require more than 2,200 watts. So if it's something voltage sensitive, then it won't work. But I'm assuming the way this works is instead of giving the full wattage to the device that's trying to pull, say, 4,000 watts, that's beyond what this can handle, it'll step down that appliance to operate at the 2,200 watts that this thing can put out. So definitely a cool feature to have. Coming to the bottom, you have your UPS function, which has a 20 millisecond switchover time. You can turn that on or off, and then you could turn on or off the button tone as well. So when you push the buttons right now, kind of has this louder beep, but if you don't want to wake somebody or want to keep it quiet, you go ahead and turn that off. And now it'll be completely silent. So that's about it for everything for the app, but definitely a very cool app. And like I said, one of the best ones I've seen so far. I've seen so many that are just so useless that only have a toggle to turn it on and off and maybe show the percentage. But this one really does give you more information that you couldn't get from the power station itself. So if you're a techie person like me and you want more information, this is definitely a great app to look at. All right, so testing out the power station, I plugged in my mini fridge, which draws about 500 watts at the most, and it ran that no problem at all. So right here I have my wife's hair dryer. Let's go ahead and test this out. So it's drawing about 1,300 watts. All right, so I went ahead and shut that off because it was getting pretty loud, but it was drawing 1,300 watts. So definitely a more higher power item, but not a problem at all for this power station. So most appliances are usually somewhere around 1,400, 1,500 watts at the most. So you're going to be able to run a microwave, a toaster, air conditioner, and pretty much any other household appliance. If it's under 1,000 watts or 1,000 watts, actually, you'll be able to run more than one at the same time. So overall, 2,200 watts is definitely a lot of power for everyday usage. All right, so as I said earlier, this has a 2,200 watt handling with a 4,400 watt peak. I have no doubt this is going to perform as good as it's rated, if not better. But let's go ahead and test that out anyways. Let me go ahead and hook up a 2,200 watt load or something close to that and see if it can handle that without any issues. All right, so this is the closest I could get it to that 2,200 watts without pushing it over. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this run for about 5 minutes and make sure it doesn't shut off. All right, so it's been a little over 5 minutes now, still running without any issues. About 2 minutes into it, I added my laptop as well, which pushed it to 2,222 watts-ish. Still running without any issues. So as expected, the inverter does do its rated power, if not more as well. This power station is going to be great for RVs, camping, or any situation where you might need power where you traditionally wouldn't have it. Like myself, a lot of you are going to be using it for home backup power as well. In this case, you'll be happy to know this does have pass-through charging and a UPS function. According to the specs, this has a switchover time of only 0.03 seconds. Last but not least, this unit has a ton of different safety features. First off, inside the power station, they're using self-developed battery cells, which are also UL certified. More than often, random brands who make power stations just use generic cells that may or may not be safe, but being the big brand Segway is, they were able to take things a step further by developing their own parts. Beside the batteries, this also has a self-developed battery management system, or BMS for short. This includes 10 functions, which include overcharging, battery balancing, short circuits, and a lot more, which I'll throw up on the screen so you can see what those are as well. Coming back to the construction, this has what they call a mecha design with a AM60B magnesium alloy skeleton shell. Simply put, this has to be one of the most rugged power stations out there. Apparently, they did over 100 tests on this, which included crush resistance, multi-directional drop resistance, UV resistance, and shock resistance. So Segway went in with the goal of not only making a great power station, but one that was tough and made to last as well. If you get stuck out in the rain, that's also not a problem, as this battery pack can also withstand wet and rainy environments with its certified IP56 rating. If all of that wasn't enough, this power station also comes with a very good 5-year warranty. Overall, this is definitely one of the best power stations out there. From features to durability and warranty, this power station truly is in a class of its own. So if you happen to be looking for a mid to large size power station, I would highly recommend this one here, which again is the Cube series from Segway. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. As usual, if you have any questions at all, feel free to drop me a comment and let me know. Otherwise, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.